I kind of fell into it. I went to graduate school for investigative journalism and radio and print, but I've always been very interested in how to basically be more efficient and never been scared of numbers. So picked up Excel and Access on my own and mapping as well. Back in the day when the only way you could do mapping was through ArcGIS, and so a very expensive mapping program. Now the tools are so much easier, and it's really great. It's kind of, I was always naturally interested in this, and then kind of the field opened up, giving me a lot of opportunities. I mean, every major opportunity I've had in my career has been because I was interested and had kind of an interest in this field. So
what are the difficulties that you met when you first get into data?
I think it's always, skill acquisition is a bit of a challenge. You have to have sort of a Zen kind of attitude when you're trying to work through learning the tools, and then also, the danger is that when you have to vet data in the same way you vet any type of other source, but you have, it's all on you to make sure that everything's accurate, that your formulas are correct, that your analysis is solid, because there's no one that's going to come back and be like, well, except maybe after the fact, that you missed something here, And so I think that that's really, really important. And so really having the patience to work through all the problems, and then also having the patience, even after you're sick of the analysis, to go back and double check and triple check. That's really, I think that's the challenge.
So what is the next step of data?
For data journalism, I think it just gets bigger and bigger, and I think that the expectation will be that, what we say data journalists should know now as a specific discipline is going to become the default for every journalist. And I think that, we're just going to people have to keep up with all the different tools that are out there, the different methodologies, learning from the work of others by looking at stories that have been done and kind of reverse engineering, trying to understand how they came to these kind of conclusions or these outcomes. And so I think that's really the challenge. You can't just, it's like writing, learning how to write. You can always improve. And in this case, you have to always keep up with it.
So how are you going to make it more accessible
to people? I mean, I think that we are always trying to learn how to better communicate the work that we're doing in terms of, and the great thing about it is that, people they're accustomed now to absorbing information in a lot of different ways, whether you're talking about a website or mobile, traditional newspaper, text, photo, video, graphics. We have to continue to innovate and be creative about how we approach this work. And so I think that that's really, that's the challenge, but it's a good one to have, because it means that the forms are going to continue to change, and we can kind of be on that kind of leading edge, which will help differentiate journalism from all the other kind of, kind of all the other things that are on the internet that are from different sources. It's one way that we as brands, as journalists, as a field can kind of continue to thrive and add value.
And how can you actually make it more accessible to other journalists who want to get into data journalism?
I think that it's, the good thing is that the kind of barriers to entry are kind of falling away. The tool, you don't need to be a programmer to create beautiful visualizations. There are these really great tools out there. The key is, being able to, you don't need to take a class, although I teach a class, so I feel like it's a helpful way to frame the issues. But I think that, you can pick up the skills on your own. I always say that if people are interested in this, they should look at the work that's being done, try to work through how it was done, and kind of think through where do the sources come from, what was the analysis, and I think that it's not an exclusive discipline. Anyone can pick up whatever they're comfortable with, and so I think that's what I would say.
So personally, how important do you think people networking is?
I think networking is very, very important. I mean, first and foremost, you got to have the goods. You have to have skills, you have to have ideas. As far as journalism goes, you need to be able to understand how to look at the world and see what's around you and find and dig and write and communicate, right? I mean, those are that at its core, you have to have the skills. But of course, journalism is like every other field. Who in terms of opportunities is important. And so I would say that, networking is very important. Attending conferences like AAJA, very, very important. And having a community. But also the thing is, journalism can also often be quite an isolated, lonely path because you're out there, you're reporting, you're writing. These are all kind of very isolated activities, right? So having community can make it more fun, and you can learn from each other, and it's such an important part, I think, just in terms of that also life quality. You know, being a journalist is an all-absorbing field. Career. It's not a 9-to-5 job. So if you can build a community around that, you know, around something that you spend 18 hours of your day working on, then hey, that's a pretty good thing, right? So.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks.
Mind repeat the first question because there's some kind of technical problem.
Oh, okay. Which
sorry.
question? How you yourself get involved in this?
How I got into journalism?
Yeah.
Or
Data journalism, yeah.
I get to practice a third time.
Okay. Okay, so Irene, how do you yourself get involved in data journalism?
I kind of fell into it. I was a bit of a career changer before I became a journalist, and so by the time I got to grad school to study journalism, I had already been working with Excel and Access and in mapping just in my previous work in the kind of charities, foundation, nonprofit world. And so it was just one of those things that was, you know, interesting to me, the skills. And then when I went to journalism school, I focused on investigative journalism and computer-assisted reporting. And so through that, there seemed to be a natural kind of tie between the two, investigative reporting and data. And so, you know, as I started into journalism, this field kind of opened up, of this field of data journalism. And so I've been very, very fortunate. I think I got into journalism at the right time when these opportunities started opening up. And, you know, every major opportunity, every like kind of step I've taken in journalism, you know, the data side of my work has really been a huge asset for me personally in terms of my career development.
Thank you.